Hey guys, how you doing? It's Stacey Willbur here at the Full Circle Music Studios. I am the VP of A&R and Publishing here at Full Circle Music, and we are doing another one of our Facebook Lives here at the studio, and we are so excited to have you join us today. So they've asked me to talk a little bit about music publishing and songwriting. I get asked the same question over and over and over again. So this is going to be very, very basic, and we're going to dive in a second to some slides. But just wanted to just give you some basics on music publishing, what it means to be a publisher, what it means to be a songwriter, what that looks like, and hopefully be able to answer some questions as we go along the way. So let's go ahead and dive in, and thanks again for joining us, and we're excited to have you. So, what is a music publisher? What is a publisher? People ask me that question all the time, and so let me just kind of give you a few things that the role of a music publisher does. One of those things are we administer copyrights. This is kind of the business side of music publishing. There's a creative, and then there's a business side. Admin side. We administer copyrights. We negotiate licenses for requests for songs. We collect royalties for money that is earned when your song gets cut. One of the roles of a publisher is to be a team player along with you, the songwriter. We are your support. We are your cheerleader for songs for you and for the songwriter. Along with that, we set up co-writes. We critique your songs, and we manage your calendar, and we just really get with you and partner with you as you are looking at the year and who should we set you up to write for, and what artists are looking, and we really just kind of manage that along with you. We also help you with your demo budget, as that is part of the process as well. The role of the publisher: we pitch songs to artists, to producers, to an A&R team, which someone was asking, what is A&R? It's artist and repertoire. That is the person at the label that's working directly with the artist. And we are pitching your songs to those music users. And in order to do that, the role of a publisher is to have strong relationships with those A&R executives, with the producers, with the artists, with the managers. That is so key, and as we've been doing this for many years, you want to just keep those relationships strong as you can. So those are just some key things of what it looks like to be a publisher. If you don't have a publishing deal, just know that you are your own publisher, and you must look after all those things that we mentioned in the front end. So one of the other questions that I get asked all the time is, what are the expectations of a songwriter? If I'm going to write for you, or if I'm looking to get a publishing deal, what are your expectations of a songwriter? So let's talk about those. Obviously, the big one is write a hit song. We want you to write songs that are geared for the commercial market. That's what our role is as a publisher. We are looking for songs that we can pitch to artists and to get cut and be on the radio, and it all begins with a song. Jenny Owens is an amazing songwriter and artist, and she spoke with us recently at one of our events, and she said a comment that I thought was really key, and it was, good is the enemy of great. And I love that she said that, because I think a lot of times there's a lot of really, really good songs, but we really need to strive for excellence, really need to strive for those great songs. Study the market, know what songs are making the charts right now, know what songs, why are these songs on the radio right now, and write those songs. Another one of the roles of a songwriter, you're gonna co-write every day, several times a week. It just depends on what the type of songwriter that you are. If you have a publishing deal, there's going to be a quota. And what that means is you may have in your contract, you may write 10 to 15 songs a year, and that's 10 or 15 wholly written songs. So if you've written 10 songs and you wrote them with your co-writer, that's a half of a song, so you're actually going to have to write 20 songs to meet that 10 song quota. networking, relationships. You're going to hear me say that over and over and over again about relationships. Such a key to a songwriter. We are establishing relationships with you to introduce you to songwriters, and then once you're in the room, then it is your responsibility to really get to know those people that are in their room and get to know them, be able to, you know, connect with them after you've written the songs. Go to meetings, become a student of the business. You don't have to know the ins and outs of everything, but if you know kind of, you know, even just what we're talking about here, that'll go a long way. Perseverance. People ask me all the time, what are the things that you look for in a songwriter? That perseverance, that don't give up attitude, that drive, that passion of whether I have a publishing deal or not, I'm going to do this for the rest of my life type of attitude. Those are things that we look for. We also look at songwriters that aren't afraid to do rewrites. We were just experiencing this and having the conversation here in the office the last couple of days, because there's been a couple of songs that have been rewritten 3 or 4 or 5 times in order to make this song exactly the way it needs to the way it needs to sound. And so not being afraid to rewrite, being open to do that, that's what we're looking for. And then the last thing, this is just kind of a little tidbit of information. Before you leave a writing room, when you are in the room writing with another writer, make sure you get the title, make sure you get the lyric, the work tape, the publishing information, the splits. Talk about that kind of in the beginning. It's good to, my motto is even splits all across the board. I know different people have different thoughts on that, but I could share more on that, but I don't have time to do that today. But make sure you get all the information. Make sure you have your contact information. It seems like a simple thing, but it's one thing that people forget to do at the end of a co-write, and is really, really important. So one of the other things that people ask me, well, what happens when your song gets cut? Now what happens? Now what do I do, or what happens with the song? So what happens when you get your songs cut? You get paid. Now, you're not going to get paid right away, most likely. It usually takes 6 months to almost a year and a half for royalties to come flowing through. So your royalty streams are going to come in several different forms. It's going to come in a mechanical write. It's going to come through a performance write. It's going to come through a sync write, a printed write, or CCLI, which we will expand on that in just a few minutes. So let me give you some information on the mechanical license. Mechanical royalties are royalties. It's an agreement given permission to record your song. The royalties come from when someone buys a copy of your song, whether it's on a physical CD, which are sadly going away, but people are still out there selling those CDs on tours, so we still want you to buy those. It's coming through digital downloading through iTunes or Amazon. It's also coming through streaming. And people always ask, who's responsible for that? So the record label or anyone else, whoever's releasing the song, is responsible for paying the songwriter and the publisher for those mechanical royalties. PROs, we call it that all the time, and people are like, what is that? Performing Rights Organization. It's BMI, ASCAP, CSAC are the amazing organizations that we as publishers work with. If you are a songwriter and you have songs on streaming services, or you have it on iTunes, or you're leading worship at your church, make sure you're signed up to one of these PRO organizations. They pay songwriters and publishers by collecting performance royalties for live performances. So that looks like radio, that looks like TV. If you perform in a live venue, it looks like music played in a restaurant or other establishments, online streaming services, Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music. They are also a really great source of, they just are another part of the team. They're supportive, they're encouraging. They have a great staff at each one of those PROs. I would highly encourage you to get to know, set up meetings with any of the PROs and get to know them, and then pick one from the one that you feel like best fits who you are and what you're doing. Sync royalties Mostly everyone calls this TV and film. I'm getting a TV and film cut. This is what's happening. I got a song in a movie or a TV spot, a sporting event, games. The record label and publishing companies normally are going to negotiate fees for this for your song, for the songwriters and the artists. If you don't have a publishing company, then you'll probably be negotiating that on your own with the company that's putting your song in your movie. Printed rights. This still happens. People are still buying sheet music and songbooks. So even though maybe we don't see it that much, it is happening throughout the world. People are still using music in songbooks and music sheets. And then CCLI, who we all love CCLI. If you are a worship leader, if you are a church, they provide licenses for churches to pay publishers and songwriter royalties, and they do it in all different ways. So there's you can get a license for song lyrics being on display, for song sheets, for songbooks, for song arrangements. There's many different licenses that CCLI provides, but they pay songwriters and publishers directly. And if you are a songwriter, if you're a worship leader writing songs for the church, you can individually sign up for CCLI, www.ccli.com. Check them out. They are amazing. Sorry about that. So I don't have a publisher. So how do I get my songs heard? That's probably the third number one question that we get asked all the time. So let me just plow through some things that you can do to get your songs heard. Go to events. There are so many of them. If you just look them up on Google, you can go to MERS, which is the Gospel Music Association. They will have one at some point in 2018. Great way to meet industry folks, great way to have your songs heard. The Full Circle Music Academy, check us out. We have live events for songwriters. We have live events that are online courses as well. Check us out. NSAI, the Nashville Songwriters Association International. They are all over. There's a base in Nashville, but they are fantastic about setting people up with co-writes as well as giving you opportunities to have your songs heard. There's another place called the Global Songwriters Connection, and Cherie is absolutely amazing, and she does the same thing. She listens to songs and brings in industry veterans to come in and listen to your song and just to kind of cheer you on. PROs, another good place to have your songs listened to. Going to songwriting showcases, they happen all over Nashville. If you are here in the area, go see some shows. Keep showing up to the same venue, and I'm pretty sure you'll see the same people over and over and over again. So keep showing up. Grow those relationships. Remember people's names. We were just talking about this the other day, about how important names are. Figure out a way. I'm not the best at it either. So this is a challenge for myself, but remembering at least the first name and calling people by their first name, that is so important and is really a key to, just establishing and growing those relationships. Study the craft. We talked about this a little bit earlier, becoming an expert and a master of your skill. Maybe don't try to write a Christian song, a pop song, and a country song all in 1 week. Maybe figure out who am I as an artist? What do I do best? And if you're a Christian songwriter, then you write the best CCM song that you can. You write the best worship song. Become a master at that skill before you move on to maybe another genre. Put songs on SoundCloud, YouTube. All these ways are ways that people get found and heard. Get a good demo of the song before you put that song up there. Make sure it's great. Strive for excellence in that way, because first impressions are key. And at the end of the day, great songs are going to be heard. If you have a great song and you are playing it out or you are putting it up on one of these services, someone is going to hear about it, and then this very small community of the music industry, we're all going to find out about it. So just continue to write great songs, and those songs will be heard. So here are just some final thoughts, some little gold nuggets that I just wanted to encourage you with today before you leave. And that is relationships. Like I said, we've talked about it several times. Don't burn bridges. Whatever you do, you never know. Even your interns, you never know. They may be your bosses next week. They may be your bosses next year. You just never know who you are surrounded by at the moment that you will be working with 10 years from now. So be kind to everybody. Keep showing up. Be faithful. Bloom where you're planted. If you're not in Nashville, that's okay. Not everybody has to move here. Bloom with where you're planted. Find songwriters that you can write with where you are living, and do that well where you are. Don't give up. Work hard. Work on your craft. Stay positive. Take risks. I'm doing that today. It's my first Facebook Live, and I'm taking a risk today. But I think, that's something just to think about. Like, what have you done this week that you've taken a risk? Have you? If you haven't, think about that and try to do maybe one thing each week that causes you to step out, to do something you wouldn't normally do. Stay in your lane. Know who you are. Good quality demos. A lot of people ask, I don't know where to find my inspiration for songs. Well, read books, listen to podcasts, go to movies. I was telling someone the other day, get off your phone when you're at the airport 24/7. So get off the phone, pay attention to the conversations that are around you, and get inspired by the conversations that are being told right next door to you. Partner with people. Find your company. Find your crew. And be a good listener in that crew. Don't be the one that always has to be the life of the party and always talking. Make sure you're really paying attention to what's being said within that crew, within your little group of people that you've surrounded yourself around. Add value rather than trying to get something. That is something that is I think one of our key things that we try to do here at Full Circle. How can we serve you instead of always asking, what can we get? What can we get back from this meeting? When you go into a meeting with a publisher, how can I actually add value to this company? Not how can you, give me advance and what can you do for me? How can we add value? I just think that's a different mindset than when we're used to. But if we can really grab a hold of that, I think that opportunities are endless when you look at it in that way. And the last final thought that I just feel like is so important, it needs to happen more, and that is congratulate and celebrate each other's successes. I'm not even sure I need to expand on that. I just think it's really, really important that it's a very small community that we work with. We all know each other. And I just think if we can, instead of tearing each other down and being jealous of one another, if we can support each other, if we can celebrate each other's successes and come together and encourage and empower each other, I just think that'll go a long way. So anyway, that's a lot of information in a very condensed amount of time, but I am hoping that some of that was helpful for you. If you have any questions or questions on the Facebook Live post, and I will personally respond to those. We really appreciate you joining us. We are going to be doing this every Friday, so keep a lookout on all of our socials, and we will let you know about the next Facebook Live next Friday. And thanks for joining us, and we'll see you soon.